Hey, Big Pod.
What?
Just to let you know, I've been making excellent use of our Nextcloud account.
Really?
Yeah, I might have shared a file using it with a friend and then immediately deleting it.
Oh,
That way it doesn't stick around.
okay.
It might be
Hopefully
a
it
little bit
wasn't
too.
too big.
No, it was not very big at all.
Good.
It was only there for like 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, just thought I'd let you know. I'm making excellent use of our public infrastructure while it's still public.
Yeah.
Cue the music. Hey guys, welcome to No Talks Allowed. I'm your host Josh today, and just to let you know, my shirt is still white. It's still very
Yeah,
beautiful,
I have a gray shirt.
but yours has patterns on it. That's a
Yes.
new shirt.
No.
Maybe. Oh, well, it's not one that I remember seeing. But then again, we've been talking for almost a year and a half now, maybe
Yeah.
more. So I'm a little lost. So, Big Pod, we have a lot of topics today, a lot more than what we normally cover. So we're probably going to go through some of these awful quick because I just didn't feel like finding any massive topics. But that's always a to be determined kind of thing. But
Yeah.
just to let you know, your next gaming PC might get more expensive.
Oh, we already know that.
Well, yeah, we already knew that, but
Thank you, RAM prices.
yeah, AMD has already announced that it's increasing GPU prices by at least 10%.
Why?
And it's already notified the partners of Asus Gigabyte and Power Cooler, specifically because of memory prices.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
Yep.
that.
Now, AMD uses GDDR6 memory. Same
Yeah.
with as well as Intel, who has not made any announcements on GPU price changes.
Yeah.
Whereas Nvidia uses GDDR7 memory, which is a bit later
Next
generation.
generation. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can kind of understand Nvidia because that stuff it's new and maybe not that many people are actually making it yet, but I want it kind of makes me wonder. It's just like why are they citing like memory prices when most of the memory costs are being dealt with standard GPU or system memory.
Well, currently all memory pricing is going up because all three companies that produce memory, the actual chips, not the sticks, are highly, highly, highly bought out. Remember, we are in the AI craze. Everybody is building a data center. Even me and Josh were talking about it for fun. But we don't have enough money to do it. Maybe if a couple of billion of you go and subscribe to our Patreon, we could build a data center.
That is true, but at the same time, our data center probably won't cost $20 billion.
Yeah, we're not doing gigawatt level data
I don't even think
center.
it'd cost us $20 million.
Yeah.
I could probably build like a data center for just for you and me for like less than 20,000.
Sure.
Because
But then
realistically,
we
all I
would
need.
want to have some ROI, so we would build a data center that people can rent in.
Okay. So
Yeah. So
there there
you should
there
have
is
ROI.
there is a warehouse that's just like straight up empty that's for sale out here. I could probably get it pretty cheap.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I probably could. But anyways, let's talk about like the this impact here. So
Well, let me finish because it's a
yeah,
bit more complicated than that. So you would think since GDDR is different thing than DDR RAM that their placement wouldn't be correlated their price, but it's actually 100% correlated because there are only three companies that produce all RAM, all DDR or GDDR in the world. and also high bandwidth memory as well, HBM as well. It's just three companies, or at least three companies in the Western world. We don't know what is happening in China. But these three companies in Western world are SK Hynix, Samsung, and Micron. So all three companies together make certain amount of RAM, those black squares you see on the actual RAM sticks. That's what those three companies make. So yeah, while while they could get more memory, it would cost them extraordinarily more money because they would have to pay for either pay for immediate placement, which or immediate allocation, which is extremely expensive, especially when they have their own fabrication facilities, or they need to build additional fabrication facilities to cover their own demands and the demands of this new craze of RAM usage. Because remember, I believe it is OpenAI that's going to be using 40% of world's RAM allocation for this year or something like that.
Yeah,
No,
I
forty
think with
percent of the current RAM, currently what is available on the market to be sellable and to be made, is supposed to use in one data center. Think about that. 40% of actual, like, what is on market and to be produced this year. 40%. That is insane. I
it
believe that.
is
I believe that's the what is talked about in terms of 40%.
that
Insane
is in
amounts.
that is insane. But the thing that kind of irks me on that is, you know, with this purchase, increasing GPU prices by like 10%, we're already kind of just used to like the new norm of GPU prices,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
we just expect them to be like worth more than the rest of the system combined.
Yeah.
As like PC builders, and the people that buy the computers off the shelves, the more normal people, uh, they're going to see this as well.
Yeah. They'll see it
And
in maybe in a bigger way than we do,
uh,
because
well, yeah,
we buy one component at a time, or even if we buy all them together, we still see the sticker prices of each individual component. So yes, GPU increases 10%. Okay, RAM increases by something like 50 to 100%. The actual RAM sticks have increased their price, if I remember correctly, in like last couple of months, which is insane.
yeah,
But in the reality, we see these two sticker prices. They will only see that the actual box they buy will be, I don't know, let's say 50% more expensive than it was, or 30% more expensive than equivalent was, I don't know, 2 months ago, which is what is actually far more scary for those people. And there are a lot of those people who just buy a pre-built and they're done, because, well, why would they need to build themselves a computer?
yeah. Just for reference, if you have not been tracking RAM prices, uh, I just pulled up a wonderful shopping website, and I just looked at DDR5 memory, and you know how on shopping prices they have like those recommended products at the top of the initial listing before you do any kind of sorting or anything to a big pod.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm looking at here is a G Skill kit for 32 gigs of memory, two 16 gigabit modules, currently
Yeah.
selling for $250.
Wow.
Yeah. Uh, that
That
is
kind
a
of kit.
that is a discount price if I buy it in store. If I buy it off the internet, is $399.
That kind of kit probably costed a month ago around below 200.
It, I
At
it was like
180
a
to
hundred and
200.
yeah, it's like a two times increase.
Yeah.
But let it. I haven't been pricing memory for a while because I just haven't had an excuse to buy memory stick in a while.
Same. Same.
But eventually, I would like to be able to upgraded computer. Because
Well,
I could use a new backup server because I think my backup server is starting to go bad.
just remember, we're building a data center. We're gonna need to buy a lot of RAM.
Yeah, probably. But maybe we could just have an AI ban, so we don't need that much RAM.
Yeah, but still, RAM is the most used component realistically of a server.
Ah, that's true. That's true.
Like
Hmm.
that's
Okay.
why that's why even if you go from 2 cores to 4 cores in a cloud VM world, you go from 8 gigabytes of RAM to 16.
That's true.
Yes, it's
That's
a
true.
doubling on both accounts, but when you fill up 4 cores to 25%, your 16 gigs of RAM is full to 100%. With
That's
most
true.
server applications, that's how it really goes. It's like RAM is the actual like commodity compared to the CPU because of all the caching, databases, and all of those things.
All right. So, uh, let's move on from this here and let's talk about like a Linux distribution release. Right? We don't talk about like these very often on the show, but this one's kind of important, especially for like this kind of space that this distro serves. But Alma Linux has announced version 10.1 that has released, and they're enabling a feature in their enterprise Linux distribution called btrfs.
Nice.
Now, Red Hat famously disabled btrfs in rel 6.8. This was a while ago,
Okay.
and ever and it's not very often that we see like these enterprise Linux forks, actually make an innovative feature or a an actual
Stray
change.
stray
As
from the path of Red Hat, you mean?
yes, yeah. They strayed quite far by just enabling btrfs, which means that now they're not using a Red Hat kernel anymore. They're using their own kernel.
Custom kernel, yeah.
Yep, and they also re-enabled Spice support for QEMU and KVM virtual machines, which
Of
Red Hat
course.
also disabled.
Yeah.
And they're re-enabling frame pointers, and they're targeting x86 v2.
Extended support for x86 64 v2, which let's not go into the classification of x86 64 because
Yeah,
that's a stupid thing.
but just assume that like your older x80
Yeah.
your older 64-bit CPUs probably won't work with this distribution anymore.
Well,
That
they will currently, but not in future. So I
yeah,
think v2 that is what is that already I series or not?
I think it's I series, but I think it's post Haswell.
Huh. Yeah.
I'm not 100% certain, but anyways, these are things that Red Hat has disabled, mostly because I don't think Spice is maintained,
Hmm.
and I don't know why Red Hat never disabled frame pointers anyway. But Big Pod, uh, I'm not like super up in like programming, but I'm certain that you could probably have the ability to explain like what frame pointers are. Because to my understanding,
Actually,
it's actually kind of nice to have for like kernel development.
off the top of my head, actually, I can't.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
okay,
so okay, so according to Google, the frame pointer is used by high-level language compilers to track the current stack frame.
okay.
This register can be helpful when the program is running under a debugger. I think. I think that would be, I guess, a proper thing. I don't know. Like, I haven't ever gone to that deep into like pointers and stuff
Okay,
like that.
so maybe if you're working on like a desktop environment system where something that you really have to dig into the graphical stack, this would be something that you'd be really interested in. Which I don't know how many people are developing that kind of thing on a Red Hat operating system. So,
Yeah.
but that's kind of important. But I have a question for you, Big Pod. the number one reason why I quit using Red Hat on my personal systems was because I missed btrfs. Just like the capabilities the capabilities and features that btrfs provides.
Okay.
I don't think I can run away from anymore. And I know that somebody in the comments is going to scream ZFS at me. I'm not touching ZFS because it's not natively in my kernel.
Yeah.
But
What
do
about btrfs?
That's been removed from my kernel.
I know.
I mean, I can install a supported kernel and set up bcachefs, but I don't want to do that because it's not an LTS kernel either.
Yeah,
No.
I was making fun of what is essentially a meme these days.
Yeah, that's true. But anyways, I'm wondering if maybe, I should switch my servers off of like this Debian install to Alma Linux, because I do want to be like within that ecosystem.
Huh, then that's an option, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very real option. But how deep down this Alma Linux rabbit hole do I go? Like, do I go as far as I did with Debian and just install it on everything?
I don't know. That's up to you.
That's true. That's true. I'll have to experiment a little bit. But famously, Alma Linux is the same operating system that our own web server makes use of. So
yes,
yep, we got some updates available that we can get to eventually.
Yeah.
So
next week is the update time.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Next week. So since I softened up the topic of talking about Linux to everybody, let's talk about Rust for Linux. Now, Rust for Linux is basically the project that manages the Rust integrations on the Linux kernel, and they've had some problems over the past year.
Yeah,
because now a second maintainer for the project has stepped down, leaving that one being Alex Gaynor. Now, this leaves Miguel Ojeda as the sole official.
I think it's probably Miguel Ojeda or something like that.
Well, we're wonderful at pronouncing names. We've already discussed this, but
so it could also probably have been Miguel, or not Miguel, but Miguel. So I don't know. What extremely wonderful at pronouncing any kind of letters that are in English, in the most English sense, or Slovenian. Everything else we butcher. So welcome to the club.
Yeah, that's true. But anyways, with him stepping down, that leaves this guy as the sole maintainer, and of course there are Rust reviewers involved too. There's at least several of them that Phoronix is citing. But is Rust already dying in Linux Big Pod?
No. I think this is natural to happen.
That's true because Alex has kind of just been contributing less and less over the past couple years.
Yeah, and generally,
he even says so in like
other people replace them.
Yeah, he even says so in like his resignation announcement. So at this point, we need. I'm wondering if maybe we need to see if it's possible for like another community member to step up into this maintainer role, because it's always nice when there's multiple maintainers that can improve patches, because depending on how popular Rust is, it might be super nice to have a second person there to audit and merge patches.
Yeah, but then again, that's why reviewers exist.
That's true. That said, I don't do kernel development.
Neither do I.
My name does show up in the kernel mailing list, but that's just me complaining about how somebody disabled a driver. This was years ago that it happened.
Right.
But Big Pod, because you mentioned it to me earlier this week, it's time for an official news segment. It's Valve Watch.
Yeah.
It is Valve Watch. It's the closest we will ever get to being a gaming podcast. Sorry. But we now have a semi-officialist word on how much the Steam machine is going to cost,
Yeah.
and it's
And I could
not
have
five.
told you that.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
not gonna
It
cost 500. Could have
nope.
told you
It
that at the
That's
time
true.
of announcement.
That's true. But the guy that was interviewed did in fact mention that HDMI CEC support will be available.
Yeah, we already
Now,
knew that.
yeah, well, we said that the hardware supports it.
Yeah, so logically,
Yeah,
SteamOS will support it.
yeah. So in the event you don't know what HDMI CEC is, by the way, that's the thing that's the thing that it's a protocol that your console device can send to like the display or prefer, which is probably a TV.
Yeah,
So that way, when the console turns on, the TV turns on straight to the input that the console's on.
yeah. And it can also allow for certain signals to be passed, like for example, you can use the same remote on TV, and whether it be if you use an NVR remote, or that not NVR, AVR, I believe it's called, right? The
Yep.
the media box, the not the media box, but the thing you plug in a lot of media boxes in. If you don't
Yeah.
have a lot of plugs on your TV, you can use that remote for TV functions and the functions of the AVR. At the same time, you can do the other way around and use the TV remote on the AVR. Same thing if you're like someone like me and you have a set-top box, IPTV box, or whichever one of those. Like we have an IPTV box, I can use either the TV remote or the IPTV box remote, and both of them work exactly the same.
Yep.
That's what is enabled by this feature, by this protocol.
That said, they discussed a lot of different things here with like this interview. So I figured that if you go to, I'll leave a link to the interview in the description, and you can go there and see if you got anything there. I didn't really watch the whole thing yet. I've been meaning to, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But it's by the people by the Skill Up YouTube channel, and it's not necessarily a podcast, but it's basically just like a big long video, which is not the norm for their channel's content. So, do 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 them a favor, go watch the video, drop them a like and maybe a comment, and tell them that hey, thanks for producing this kind of content, because
Yeah,
everybody's excited by a Steam machine, and we're excited enough that we're probably going to make this segment on the show, assuming that we can find enough constant information, because sometimes Valve can be a little quiet.
yeah. And remember, the first topic of the day: RAM prices are going up
Of course. So
significantly. So prices of a Steam machine, and for that matter, the Steam frame, are completely in flux, which is probably one of the reasons why, probably the major reason, if you ask
right.
me, why they didn't announce the price, because then they're locked into that price, even if the price of RAM and graphics RAM and VRAM goes up by, let's say, 200% on the market.
Yeah, that said,
They're
they're
locked
not.
into that 700 euros,
Well,
$700 price point. They're likely going to be around.
well. So Valve is a bit of a special case because it is a privately owned company.
Yeah.
So they could potentially get away with it. However,
Yeah,
they lose a lot of consumer trust.
but from what I heard, they're not going for a loss leader. They're
No.
not going for the console style subsidy of the hardware with software. They're not going for that. So we should look into realistically into what it would cost to make this piece of gear, what it would produce, and that's about the realistic price of it. So I did a bit
Well,
of a checking on the website I buy computer hardware. So it is in my country. It is very much influenced by my country's prices, which is much higher than would be realistically. So realistically, and generally when they will release this device, it'll probably be the same, the same number, whether it be in euros or dollars. Even though the exchange rate got quite a bit shocked recently, uh, but I came out with the hardware we are like most likely to see in there, like when they say RDNA with 3 and Zen with Zen is Zen 5 or is
Yeah,
it
Zen 5.
Zen 5? Yeah. So I I I found the closest CPU, which is 7600. I found the 7600 or 7600X. Found the closest Radeon RX GPU, which is 7600, and I got about 700 euros. So that's your hardware price point. I also took things like um, cases, power supplies at at reasonable prices into consideration. So not the cheapest power supply, not the cheapest case, not the cheapest cooling, because of course it's not going to be cheapest cooling. They have to design their own cooling. They have to likely design their own power supply. They have to design their own case. So I took that in account via not being the cheapest thing available. And yeah, 700 euros with the caveat these are old parts. We,
That,
both CPU and GPU are in the 9,000 range right now. And when we take the newest components of the same power, same performance, I got in the near 1500 euros range.
yeah, so
So that is the range we should be looking at. And that is without any kind of calculation for work, profit, amortization of development, any kind of amortization of development of SteamOS changes, because for example CEC development and other stuff they need to develop. So I am, if they're gonna go just for break even on the hardware plus realistically work, we're gonna talk about that 700 euro range, because they will get cheaper components since they're buying en masse, but probably it'll probably cover the work with that. So 700, 800 euro console, I think it is most likely, and that is without any kind of effects by RAM market.
that's
That could
true.
affect us in buying the thing quite a bit. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at this point if we see it near 1,000 euro price point. I'm
Uh,
I'm completely prepared for that kind of pricing.
yeah, so we're looking at about the $800-900 US.
Yeah,
That we're assuming, because we're assuming that there might be some import taxes that might need to be
yeah.
paid for going to Europe. So
I also, I'm gonna say I don't think it will crack the four digit mark, so 1,000. But I think 999 isn't far fetched price point, or at least so far fetched price point, especially if they wanna make some profit. There are some YouTubers, some content creators who said that there is a chance they're gonna make that they could make it for 500, 550. But those are really cherry picked examples with cherry picked with squeezing everything out of it, uh, dollar wise. But let's be really, I took a more realistic approach to it, or at least more pessimistic approach to it. And I think I am much closer to the actual price than any of those content creators will be.
I mean, I went to eBay.com and I typed in Steam Machine, and I found an Alienware Alpha Steam Machine for $52.99. So I
Yeah,
think I already got you beat.
sure, sure. But does it have Does it have uh, a 7600 CPU? Ryzen?
No, it
Yeah,
does not even have a
that's
Ryzen
that's
CPU.
that's an old 10-year-old Steam machine.
Hey,
Around that mark, right?
something like that. But if I install like like Bazite on there, probably with KDE Plasma because it's a little bit lighter than GNOME.
Yeah.
Uh, I install that, set that up. I think it comes with an NVIDIA graphics card, so obviously we need to install the NVIDIA edition. Then we can see how well it games. It might just be able
Yeah.
to play Half-Life still.
Yeah. But I've heard from a lot of people that a lot of these machines, these Steam machines, tend to be broken.
Well, of course, because they're 10
Since
years
they are
old.
very old. Yeah.
Yeah. That said, I could buy the chassis for. I could buy just an empty chassis for $55.
Yeah. Well, uh, when we're talking about operating systems, we should probably look into our next topic,
Oh
aluminum
yes.
OS. What
The,
is that?
uh, it's a metal, but it's an operating system. So, we talked about before how Google is wanting to change Chrome OS from being its own base to an Android base. It kind of just makes sense to
Yeah, it's not
save
that
some
easy, but yeah,
save some effort. But that's what Aluminum OS is. It's Android forked
oh,
for a more desktop style experience.
huh. So it's gonna be a desktop experience for Android, essentially.
Yeah, it's Android for the desktop. That's basically what it is. So
Now the important question right away is: Will will it be available on an Android phone? I
that's a
know they
good
probably
question.
won't. It would be great because well, I love my decks on Samsung devices. It's absolutely amazing. I don't use it often enough for how amazing it is. But yeah,
Yeah,
so tell us more about this aluminum OS. I'm hearing first about it as well. So give us more detail,
so
Josh.
first of all, it might actually just be called Aluminium OS because it does use the English spelling for aluminum.
Okay, yeah, good.
Yeah. So, and which obviously is a nod to Chromium, which is the code base of Google Chrome.
Yeah,
So, it might just be just enough operating system to launch Chrome, much like how Chrome OS initially started. Now that said, Chrome OS is actually a Gen 2 based Linux distribution.
yep.
So I'm sad to see the world's most popular distro going away because heaven forbid there's a lot of Chromebooks in the world.
Well, but it will still be Linux.
That's true. It will still be Linux, kinda.
This was the most controversial statement I made this stream. Well,
That's
this
true.
recording,
That's
that
true.
Android is Linux, which it is. I don't
Yeah,
care what you people think. Android is Linux. It uses Linux kernel, therefore it is Linux. End story.
yeah. I mean, most people don't realize that Chrome OS is a Linux distribution.
Yeah.
So they're looking at putting this on the entry level mass market devices first, but they do say premium devices as well. So basically all markets, but they're probably going to be deploying it to low end stuff first, just to
Yeah.
get it out there. And
And remember,
they are committing to maintaining Chrome OS at least
of
for
course, they
the
has to. They
foreseeable
have
future.
to. At minimum, they have to do it at the time, even if at the time when they publish Aluminium OS, they at the time cut off sales of all Chrome OS devices, which isn't even possible. It still will take them 10 years to stop the support because that's how long they support Chrome OS for. 10 years
That's
since
true.
purchase, I believe it is. So 10 years at least from that point, and then some.
That's true. So let's talk a little bit about like what the fundamental difference is. Now, obviously, this is Android. Now, for those that don't understand how an operating system like Android works, it's sort of similar to how an atomic distribution works here from the world of Linux.
Yes.
It uses, except I think Android literally just uses an AV root system.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah.
If you ever used Vanilla OS, Vanilla OS uses an AB root.
That's true.
That's the same principle behind the Android AB root system. Yeah, about that. Yeah, about same principle. Literally, to explain to those who do not know, literally you have two partitions: a partition, a B partition for your operating system. You're currently running your operating system on A partition. You have an update. You put it on B partition, and then when you're doing work or doing your reboot, you just swap them, and
That's
now
true.
you're booting from this partition instead of this partition.
Yeah, that said,
And that's it. And
you
you run.
probably have never noticed it.
Yeah.
Because Android has an automatic fallback. If it ever fails to boot, it will just boot from the old partition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why very rarely, but sometimes you'll get an Android update, you'll do the reboot thing, and then it'll come back and it'll boot back up and tell you that hey, there's an update available.
Yeah.
Because
Don't cry
you know
about
it booted from that fallback partition because
From
you
the
know
old
the new
partition.
one did.
From
Yeah,
the old partition.
uh,
Yeah.
it's
But,
actually a really good idea, but man, it can be a little bit there's a bit of a tax on the storage.
Yeah, but not much, because remember, we're talking about maybe 5 gigabytes.
Yeah,
Where it is just system partition, nothing else. It's literally just your rootfs without any kind of home, without var, just essentially just USR and some part of etc. Nothing else.
yep,
Essentially just USR and etc. Plus the required files that have to be there in like Deo and stuff like that. That's what it is. And the most amazing thing is, like I said, it's Linux kernel. It is actually very much Linux, like in all the ways you can think about it. So when you boot into a bootloader. Most of you don't see the bootloader because it's actually like hidden.
it's
But
the full screen Android.
Is the thing that handles the switching between A and B partitions.
Yep,
It's called fast boot. The reason it's called fast boot is because it boots so fast you don't have to see it. But some of you who are like me and you are adventurous with your phones, you can use ADB to boot into fast boot, and you can do a lot of pretty dangerous things from there, including wipe your device.
There's a
or
reason I got a Pixel phone.
rooting. Yeah. And like in all the ways, it essentially boots like you would set up your normal Linux device. Completely normal. I don't know how to say this enough. It is completely normal Linux.
That's true. Now, there are ways you can like set up a lot of distributions to use like this AV root system.
Yeah.
So we can replicate it.
Yeah.
The question is, in the world of say like operating system, file system level snapshots that
And
Btrfs
world
provides,
of
you know,
OS3.
yeah, or in the world of OS tree, which both those options are probably just better.
Yeah.
Because you know they come without having to have a completely separate installation of your root operating system.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes me wonder. Android kind of sucks when you're not using it on a phone.
Yes.
Like I've made use of Android on a tablet. Yes. It is kind of terrible.
Yes,
Unless I buy a Samsung and use Samsung stuff.
Yes.
But
you use Dex, yeah.
yeah. But it does support floating windows. You can move them around. There's a close button and a minimize button. There's no maximize button. Yeah. I'm sorry, maximize heroes. Although maybe on aluminum, aluminium OS they could enable it.
Remember, those are just desktop environments.
That's true.
That's the thing. You should remember. It's Linux. What you open on your phone is essentially just an phone equivalent of GNOME. Nothing more. It's just a phone equivalent of GNOME.
Yeah. That said, they don't do a very good job exposing it like they used to. But you can still totally download and install completely different desktop environments or launchers, as Android calls them. But the big popular one still being Nova.
It's not as similar as replacing a whole desktop environment. It's more replacing the first part of it, the application launcher or your start menu or whatever. But remember,
that said,
One UI or Pixel UI or whatever they have, the other manufacturers have available, those are literally desktop environments in full right. And I believe they run on, if I remember correctly, Wayland?
I know that it used to use the Ubuntu option Miri.
Yeah.
Which they're probably on Wayland now.
Yeah, Mir is now literally a Wayland compositor. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably Wayland these days. I could, if I had a phone with me that I could check on, I could check for you. But Josh has a phone.
Okay, so after about 15 minutes of trying to figure this out, of course, it turns out that Android does not use Wayland. It uses its own solution called FlingSlinger. Which is, well, maybe. That's like the one that we could find the name of. But apparently there's like a whole graphical stack and everything. So, how does this relate to Aluminium OS? We don't know yet. That's really it.
Yeah, probably that will not change any bit. But remember, at the end of the day, these are just desktop environments. They're just going to run a new desktop environment. That's how Dex works, probably in the background. When you switch to Dex, it just logs you out, logs you back into another desktop environment.
That's true. All right, so, Big Pod, we have an announcement to make.
Yeah.
So last year, we did a week-long live stream on the No Tux Allowed YouTube channel. We are not going to be doing another week-long live stream. Instead, on December 26th of the glorious year of 2025, we're going to be recording a live episode of the show.
Yep.
And I think we might just invite the community to chat with us at the same time. Because, it sure would be nice to, have a lot of people just randomly show up just to record a single podcast episode. Make the editor's life hell. Or, he could just be lazy and not do, actual editing. And instead, just a cut here, and a post. Something like that.
Yeah. Snip, snip, done.
Yep, snip, snip, done. So, we're probably going to be doing that. In the meantime, I might just, run, Hi, cats.
Josh and Cats. Perfect podcasting setup.
Yep. Alright, so at the same time, I might just be a little bit tempted to stretch that stream out a little bit because, heaven forbid, I am off for quite a few days because it's the end of the year. So, who knows? There might be, multiple live streams after that date, but you can at least guarantee that one. Because, that's one that I'm willing to at least commit to. But anyways, Big Pod, if you would like to be contacted by the community, you prefer to be sent an email, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, contact@techspace.com Yeah, nobody ever wants to talk to me, so maybe they'll talk to you. That's it. I know our email works because, heaven forbid, we got an email this morning.
Yep.
So, you guys can also talk to each other on our Discord channel. Just go to tuxbase.com/Discord. That will pop you right into currently what is the No Tux Allowed Discord until, we start spinning up other shows, of which then it might just become the Tuxbase Discord. Who knows? And of course, we've got all these other wonderful places where you can personally find Big Pod and myself with our own YouTube channels, our own websites. We talk on, the Fediverse quite a bit. So that's what these links right here are for. Because, there's probably a card for that. But Big Pod, we do need the support. We do need the support from the community. They need to go to patreon.com/NoTuxAllowed. Give us a couple $, because heaven forbid, I would like to buy more VMs.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Me too.
That's it. Because we're doing this podcast the hard way. We're hosting everything from one little server in Chicago. I used to say that's Georgia, because that's where my web server used to be. But then I remembered, oh yeah, Tuxbase is in Chicago. And that one server is doing an awful lot right now.
Yeah.
Sure would be nice to, spin off, at least like the Mastodon onto like its own server. But that costs money. But hey, it's still affordable for now. So, Big Pun, I think
really?
Oh, is it really? Is it really?
Yeah.
I mean, it sure would be nice to, be able to buy a tank of gas and a cup of coffee. Because heaven forbid, I'm actually legitimately out of coffee, and I'm suffering the caffeine withdrawals. I've tried drinking tea. It's not enough. It's not enough. I need my caffeine supplements. All right. So I'm actually probably going to be doing that because heaven forbid, the grocery store is still open. So I'm probably going to go to the grocery store and buy myself a can of coffee. In the meantime, guys, we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.